Identify the problem. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Today we're going to talk about prepping in general, basic preparedness, introductory preparedness, how to get started, how to make sure that you're going about it correctly. So let's get into the video. One of the first things you need to do is identify the problem, like I said. Not necessarily the problem, but about preparedness, our goals, where we want to go, things like that. So let me ask some questions here that we need to think about. Why prep? Why do we prepare? What do we prepare for? How to prep? How to go about doing it? What direction should we take? What kinds of things should we get? How do we start? How to improve if we're already down the road in our preparedness journey. One of the best ways I've found to approach this is to first identify your weak areas. If you're just beginning, everything is your weak area. If you're just getting into prepping, yeah, you don't have anything. If you have been prepping for a little while, you need to take a look at what you have. You need to identify weak areas. You need to have other people look at what you have so that more than one set of eyes is identifying and able to identify weaknesses in your preps, because everybody looks at things from a different angle. I look at things differently than you look at things differently. We also live in different areas. We have different needs, different requirements. So we need to identify weaknesses in our preps. Is medical your weakness? Is food? Is water? If you're just starting, you say everything is, right? So, if you're just starting, how do you get started? Getting started is actually pretty easy. It's just pick up some of the extra food at the store that you regularly buy. Not fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh meat, stuff like that. Unless you can throw it in the freezer, that might be an option. But most preppers look at that as not the best option, because a lot of us realize and think that the power grid might not always be up. So freezers won't have power. If you have solar, stuff like that, okay, I get it, you got generators, there's ways to make it happen. But pick up a couple extra cans of fruit, veggies, meat, a couple of bags of beans, rice, that kind of stuff. It is fairly easy to get started. Maybe you go to the camping section, pick up yourself a mini Sawyer water filter, or some of those ration bars, emergency ration bars. Those are really good. Also look in the what I call prepper area, where, like, say Walmart, for example, where they sell all the Augustin Farms, the freeze-dried stuff in the number 10 cans or in the buckets. That's a great way to go about it. I love it. Whenever I see hard red wheat in the Augustin Farms buckets at Walmart, I grab it. Seriously, if I see one there, I grab it, because I rarely see things like that, especially hard red wheat in the store. So that's one of those things, grab it when you see it. Yeah, it's about $40-ish, I think. I forget. But yeah, it's an investment well worth it. Then you can get into other more advanced things, not really advanced, but we're going to take a look and talk about, well, not take a look at, but talk about some things that you can find in the camping section that's very good, and some other places to find these items. Okay, what are these items I'm talking about? Go to the camping section of, say, Walmart, Target, Fred Meyer. You can go to Bass Pro, Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, a lot of different places like that. Any place that has an outdoor section, Big Five Sporting Goods, any sporting goods store, etc. And some very important things to get right off the bat if you're a prepper, if you're starting prepping, or if you've been doing it for a while and maybe this is one of your weaknesses, is shelter. Shelter is very important. Tarps are a great way to make shelter quickly and easily in most environments. If you have trees around, you can use tarps to build a shelter. What goes along with that, though? You need some cordage, meaning some rope, some twine, something to tie the tarps up with to create shelter. 550 cord, I love it. You can find that at like, sportsman's warehouses. You're not going to really, actually you can find it at Walmart, actually, in the hardware section with all the other rope and twine and string and stuff like that. They sell 550 cord. Now, is it the best quality stuff? I don't know. I do have some. I put that in my like backup supply, so I haven't actually used it, but 550 cord works very well. If you want something that resists rot, stuff like that, there's also nylon cordage. I don't like nylon because it's very difficult to do knots with, but it's much easier to undo knots with, so that's one of the things. All right, so next we're going to get to what are some other good places to find these kind of items. Some of my favorite places to find camping gear and other prepper supplies is thrift stores, or are thrift stores. Goodwill, Deseret, local faith-based organizations that have thrift stores. Great places to get camping gear. We find the blow-up sleep pads all the time. You can find tents. You can find, I don't think I've ever found a tarp there, but you can find blankets, sleeping bags, lanterns, Coleman cook stoves. You can find a lot of things at Goodwill. So check out your Goodwill or your local thrift store, whichever one is available, and just walk through the store. What I do is I walk through every single aisle, thinking the entire time, prepping, thinking outdoor survival, thinking wilderness survival, thinking camping, hiking, any of these activities that could be involved with your preparedness. Gardening, for example. I always look through, see the containers and everything like that. What can I use to plant stuff in, to grow stuff in? What can I use in my garden? How can I repurpose these items to make them fit other needs? Great way to do it. Save yourself some money also. Before I go any further, if you're a prepper, preparedness minded, you want to be ready for anything, or you love getting out in the outdoors when it's 18 degrees outside, when it is like it is right now, for me, check out Fortress Clothing. Links in the description below. Never be cold again. Base layer. Awesome stuff. I've been wearing this almost non-stop for a month and a half, almost 2 months now. And I absolutely love it. I think it's an essential piece of gear. You got to go there, check out what they offer, see what will fit your needs, and take advantage of the resources. I trust this stuff. My go-to now. Totally changed from normally I would be layering up with merino wool and all this different stuff. That's a great way to go about doing it, but this is a game changer right here. Totally changed my idea about cold weather gear. Let's talk about identifying products for prepping. Like I mentioned with a thrift store, same idea can be used for Walmart, Safeway, Kroger, whatever kind of store you go into. Walk through the store, the whole store, and think the entire time, prepping. What can I use for prepping? Identifying the best deals, and always keep a lookout for these kind of things. A lot of people shop at Walmart, so let's use Walmart as an example. You know, obvious things. The camping section, yep. The food section, yep. That freeze-dried bucketed section, yep. Those are some of the obvious ones. Maybe the medical section may be obvious to you, but to some people it's not. That's one of those areas, very, very good. A lot of preppers are very weak in medical because of training. But don't let training or lack thereof hold you back from having proper medical supplies. If you have them, at least you got them. You can learn how to use them, especially all the stuff they have at Walmart. I mean, you're not talking about any advanced medical stuff. Stuff they have at Walmart, you can easily learn how to properly use. Another section is lawn and garden section, right? For growing things. Also, things like Home Depot and Lowe's are great. I love Home Depot and Lowe's. I could go in there and spend any amount of money that you let me spend and get stuff there. Stuff for building raised beds, for gardening. But another aspect that people forget about is security. You're not going to find it at Walmart, but Home Depot and Lowe's. Fencing. Could be wooden fencing. Could be brick walls. Could be chain link fences. Could be barbed wire, razor wire. Depending on where you are, what your property is like, and what you can and cannot get away with building due to the current world situation. Obviously, I'm not going to put up a razor wire fence around my property, even though I live rural. It's just not applicable or appropriate for today's world. But you can have those things on hand, so if the world goes to total crap, then you can erect those barriers. So think about security. Very important. Physical security. How can you delay and or stop bad guys or anybody else you don't want on your property from getting in your property, on your property, into your house, taking your things, hurting you, hurting your family, stuff like that. Something that's vital to think about. Another very important part of preparedness is having the ability to light a fire, having fire starting supplies. What about knives, tomahawks, hatchets, axes? I'm going to do a video very soon about those things specifically. Folding knives, fixed blade knives, tomahawks, hatchets, axes, how to sharpen some of them, how to and why you might want to include them in your preps. Having basic hand tools, garden tools, shovels. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to do in the world of preparedness, but keep your eye out and always think when you're going through a store, have it at least in the back of your mind, preparedness. What can I find today that'll help me be better prepared tomorrow than I was yesterday? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that you got something from it. I'm really going in the direction of getting away from all that fear, everything going on in the world, news reports and stuff like that. Everybody else is doing that. I want to talk about real world stuff and continue our journey of being better prepared for real, actual preparedness. So thank you for coming with me on this journey. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are prepping a little every day. And I hope that you know and you understand that prepping is peace of mind. Prepping is living insurance. It will or might ensure that you live through anything bad that happens. Of course, there's all kinds of eventualities. Maybe you won't. Doesn't matter how much food and preps you have. But you'll have a much better chance of survival if you at least have some of this basic preps in order. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and blessings to you and yours.